Welcome. This brings back a lot of memories to doing this video. And this is actually quite a while that we took in order to review the Ninja Storm, the rest of the Ninja Storm stuff. I think at this point I had the Revolver Mammoth for over a year. We weren't sure like when we were able to, because we wanted to have like more of the stuff done, especially because I only had the black version of the Zords, and I wanted to have the color versions so that you can show off everything. And it took a while also to get Tenkujin, and Revolver Mammoth was also a pain in the ass to get to because obviously it was never released here, and we had to get the Japanese version, and it's huge. So the base prices back then on eBay for a complete set with the box was like 150 on average. And then you have to add in the shipping costs. So that took a while to get to it. But the main thing that was such a pain in the ass when it came to the Ninja Storm Hurricaneger line was the horrible engineering on it. I love the line. I think the best scale for the Zords should be always at this size because it's small enough where they can add in a lot of detail. Because when you have the larger ones, they have to take out the details in those versions. So the problem was all of the Hurricaneger stuff at this point had design faults every which way you go. Every single one had them. So I was hoping, when I was worried, like, oh, is Revolver Mammoth going to have a problem too? And lo and behold, it does. And it's such a pain in the ass in order to fix, which you can fix, but it's very convoluted in order to do it. Now, the fault of the toy is the launcher. Obviously, it's motorized. It can shoot the balls out, and you want to be careful with that. It's a really cool, if you're a kid, well, like a 7-year-old kid playing this, you will enjoy it so much. But as an adult collector, the launching function, you're like, oh, I don't want to break the balls because they're going to get scratched, they're going to get dented, so you really don't want to use it for that feature. But it's still a really cool, unique toy in its sense. And what was really unique about mine, the person who owned this never applied the stickers, so I had to do everything. So it was virtually brand new. The only thing that really happened to it was some of the gray parts on the top where the control parts are, they yellowed a little bit, which sucks, but it happens. But the main culprit, and I know why the kid probably stopped playing with it, most of the launchers were broken. When I got the toy, obviously the first thing I tested was the motor function to see if it worked. 3 of them didn't fire, and I said, how on earth does this work? And you can see even in here, you can see it jams up because that's the launcher malfunctioning, and in order to fire it, it has to hit that little tab like I'm showing over here, and you could forcibly launch it by pushing in the tab, but the auto function, it works in a way of springs inside the launcher. Basically, there's a spring that's in the thing that holds the launcher, and the launcher, what's annoying is that it's all made of plastic, so any bit of the launcher can break either like early or later on, even if you repair it. So at first I was like, oh, how do you get into the toy? Because I was like, you have to figure out how it's broke, like what's broken. And obviously you'd think, oh, you have to unscrew the front to get into the motor. No, unfortunately, the way Revolver Mammoth is designed, and even this happened with the Lion Zord, there's basically a welded bolt. On the Lion, for example, the main where it spins, there's a welded bolt that prevents you from actually taking it apart. So if the clips in the main on the Lion break, you're screwed because there's no way to open it up without destroying the toy. And the same thing happened with Revolver Mammoth. You know the feet that move with the wheels to simulate its walking? Those are also weld bolted on with the same stupid thing. So how do you get into it to fix the toy? The only way to really get into it is from the back. You have to completely unscrew the entire back, the compartment where Tenrai goes in, that comes out, and then eventually you have to also disconnect 2 of the power cables for the battery compartment, so you have to know some basic soldering skills to do it. And then that's not even the most complicated. It's getting into the motor part and figuring out why it breaks. So like I said, the entire motor launcher piece is all plastic. So the thing that captures the ball is this hook plastic. You can actually see it if you look in close shots of it. And then behind that, it's connected to a spring. Now this spring has a hook on it where that attaches to, and then that spring pushes against a plastic post. That's where when you click it in, That's where the launcher locks it in place and then releases it when it gets to push the button. That plastic post breaks all the time, and because it's taking all of the pressure from the spring, and it's very small, and this is the reason why all the pins break in all the toys, because they either have something very heavy on one side, like a die-cast part, or the plastic is just so tiny. So it didn't matter how old the toy was. It could be 2 months old of you purchasing it, or 25 years later, like now. They broke no matter what, and they'll break in the future. So you'll have to repair them. The engineers put so much pressure in certain areas, and that's why they failed, and that's why the launcher doesn't work. And luckily there is a way to fix it without doing too much work, and it also bypasses the way they designed it, which I wish they had done it originally. Basically, the way the spring connects to the post, like I said, and because the post is gone, the spring has nothing to connect to. So what I did was I basically bent the spring hook part like basically a 90-degree angle, made like an L bracket, which basically pushed it into the design, the shape of the actual part that holds the entire thing together, and it anchored it completely, and it didn't break the functionality, and it worked the best way. Now, that doesn't mean my Revolver Mammoth is 100% safe from breaking more. Like I said, the thing that actually holds the balls themselves, the curved plastic part, that can break at any point in time too, and then I'll have to glue that together in the future. And finding glue that works on plastic is such a pain in the ass. You have to basically find bonding glue. None of that super glue stuff or other things. You have to get stuff that melts the plastic directly back together. And then other times, and like for example, Glorigin, there's springs that hold the legs apart, and that's how that works. And a lot of pressure's in there, and you have to use basically this bonding glue in order to get it together, because if you attempt to try to glue just the part that broke off, it will just fall off. You have to fully glue it to the plastic itself. I think another reason why we had to review this is because we knew at this point we were going to end Ranger Review, and I was like, well, I spent so much money on this toy, and it's one of my favorite of the line. You know, Ninja Storm Hurricaneger is one of my favorites, so I said we have to get it done before. So that was the reason why it was near the end, and what delayed it was just getting it fixed, but also getting the color version of, Senpujin and Goraijin, so we can have the color versions like that. So we could show it what it looked like normally, because the only one I had was the black version, which I was like, it's cool, but like you want to have both versions to display. Now, like I said, luckily the toys can be repaired, so they're not in an impossible state, minus the lion's head. I should mention, the only thing that doesn't seem to break on the toy line are the KB animals. They don't seem to snap anywhere or break off or fall apart or be brittle, because the dolphin, for some reason, is the most brittle out of all of them, because it's shattered. I don't know. It's the way brittleness happens is because of the way they do the fighter retardant. And if they put too much into it, it'll make it extremely brittle. This is why the Hurricaneger stuff shattered. Not Hurricaneger. I mean Mega Ranger, the Red Ranger's Zord. His broke very easily, and it's the same thing happened with the dolphin, especially when you try to use the sled. So it's notorious with the fin breaking, because you could see it yellows very badly. And it sucks once you have that, so you have to deal with it and repair it. Repairing it actually is doable, but it is a lot of work to get these things working. So that's the reason why I haven't really used them and displayed them. Honestly, I have not taken Revolver Mammoth out of its box since we did this review. So whenever we did this review till today, I have not removed it from the box since then. And what's also funny, this box that Revolver Mammoth is in is actually been used for so many things. I've seen it used in grab bags or New Year bags and those raffle things that Japan do. They use that box over and over and over again. It's kind of funny, and I think it's also used later on in another Sentai toy. So yeah, that's the history of this episode. I really wanted to get it done and out before the show ended. And even though there's a ton of problems with these toys, I always say it's still worth it, especially if you have everything, because it's always cool to see the entire thing assembled together. But thanks again for watching, And I hope this gave you a better insight on the toys and how annoying they are, and also help people who ran into the exact same problem. Taurus set, so it's the exact same chain. So technically, if you lost your Bull Taurus chain, you could take the chain from here.
It's just the same size. It's the same size as almost like bigger base, but it's actually much fatter. And funny thing is that just like how Ultra Zord is, you actually can put other Zords in. Certain other Zords do fit in here. Just you guys gotta be careful what it is. But you can't fit other Zords because the back is just a hollow thing for it to sit on.
Titanus is still faster than Revolver Mammoth.
I mean, this is 2001, 2002, and Titanus was 1992, 93. So that's really a bit shocker to see that.
Titanus is still the fastest motorized Zord out of the entire line.
Very pure Sentai line right now, he's still the fastest, which is really, really odd. If you ship this son of a gun from Japan, it's gonna cost you a lot. I think this one costed us around 180. The screw.
I hate birds. Oh, damn microphone fell.
Well, you can't see anything.
I know, but still, it fell.
Shut up!